It's Sunday morning with Mark Sainsbury.
Yes, it's that time of the morning. We're going to talk to the man who makes work. All the things around leadership and efficient functioning of a business. He's been there and done it all himself. I'm talking about Dr. Harold Hillman. And you can check out Harold on sigmoidcurve.com. Good morning, Harold.
Good morning, Mark.
We're talking credibility this week.
Credibility. That's right. Credibility is at the core of any manager's or any leader's ability to influence other people. And without credibility, you might as well hang it up. So it's important to dig into this. People often tell others, hey, you've got to go build your credibility. But then people don't know what to do, and there is a growing body of research and evidence out there that there are some very specific things you can do to build your credibility.
What is credibility?
Well, credibility it's tantamount to believability. So if I believe you as a person, I'm more likely to perceive you as credible, or if I believe what you're telling me, I'm more likely to perceive you as credible. So there's a believability that sometimes is objective and sometimes it's pretty subjective, but a person's got to believe in you to perceive that you're credible.
Can you fake it?
You can fake it only so much, because credibility does come with a track record. And at some point, that track record speaks for itself. And so people who are truly imposters are, not going to last long.
So if you come into a new job, or you're taking over as a manager or a leader somewhere, establishing that credibility must be incredibly important.
It is.
It might take a while. I mean, can you fast track credibility?
I believe you can. And in fact, companies are getting a lot smarter with that now, Mark, around induction programs. So we no longer leave it to happenstance that somebody joins a company and that, they'll eventually find their way. So we put people through a process where we're saying, look, knowing these things and doing these things are probably going to give you good traction. So part of it is, being able to do what you say you can do. So there's a competence component around credibility. The second component that we often emphasize is you got to be reliable. You've got to be dependable in terms of the consistency in what you deliver and how you deliver it. And you as a person have to be consistent. You can't be up one day and down the next. People don't sometimes trust and deal well with people who are volatile. The third component that we often emphasize and that people sometimes underestimate is that you got to get to know people. There's just a real sense. If I know you, I really feel that I have a connection with you. I'm just more likely to see you as credible or believable. And sometimes we underestimate that in our relationships at work. We don't take time to get to know people. And then the biggest one, Mark, around credibility, perceived credibility, people truly underestimate this one, is motivation, perceived motivation. If people perceive that you are largely out for you, that can strip a person's credibility very quickly for people who aren't putting the team first or the organization first. And so what comes out of your mouth and the actions make a big difference in terms of how credible people perceive you to be.
It's obviously then really important for any business establishing this credibility. So do companies, if they're going to take it seriously, do they offer help in getting leaders and managers, to develop that credibility?
Some of it comes with particularly when people start to lose it. I'm glad to see that companies are now being proactive about getting people who have big jobs or in big stretch jobs where, there's a little bit of risk there. Keeping those people with good resources around them to be able to talk to them about how they're building that credibility, just getting the basics done, doing it well, giving people a sense of consistency. Those types of things do make a difference.
What if you lose your credibility, Harold?
Yeah.
Can you recover it?
You can, but it does take a resolve to be able to do it. If you've lost credibility because people perceive that you're incompetent, just, in terms of just the basics of what you're supposed to know, it's hard to recover there. Either you've got it or you don't. And so if it's a competence issue, it's a problem. But if it's an issue around you're being inconsistent, or even an issue around people not knowing you well enough, you can do something about that. You can actually dig in and enhance your credibility. And so I encourage people who perceive that they've lost some of their influence, dig in around some of these things. It can make a difference.
And like we discussed earlier, the fact that you can't fake it. If you're not up to the job, you can't make yourself credible if you don't have the goods.
That's right. Absolutely. That's only going to last so long, particularly for people who truly are incompetent. That's important. So for people who believe that they may even be falling behind a little bit, just in terms of their profession or their skill set, even taking refresher courses or going to the occasional conference, or, just making sure that their skill set is just as sharp as it can be, is important in terms of perceived credibility, given how fast things change in this world.
Hey, just before we go, Harold, who would be the most credible CEO you've sort of seen?
Oh, wow.
Or who would be an example, rather than not saying the most, but looking around the world, is there someone you'd say, that's a guy or a girl who's got credibility?
Yeah, that is, wow, there are so many, and I work with so many. I'm going to pick Art Ryan, who I worked with at Prudential Financial 15 years ago, because Art Ryan was an icon around authentic leadership. And that sense of you needed to be real, bring your whole person, bring all of your energy into the workplace. And that was very empowering for me personally. And you could see it magnify around the organization. So I pick Art in terms of really, that essence of authenticity.
Well, it's been a very credible chat this morning, Harold.
Great to talk to you, as always.
Okay, Harold Hillman there. You can always you can track Harold and check out what's happening at sigmoidcurve.com. We'll be back after the break.